as they join. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Berkeley Chamber of Commerce's first event of 2024. Happy New Year to you all. We're excited to be bringing you part 3 of our Bootcamp series for 23-24, sponsored generously by our friends at the Berkeley Public Library. Their rep, Jeff Finley's on the call. Jeff, thank you so much for your support so that we can provide this content to the entire community. So today's program is the only marketing system your business will ever need, presented by our good friend Wil Hart. If you've joined any of our past presentations with Wil, you know that you're in for a real treat today. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce him and we'll get the ball rolling. So Wil Hart is the co-founder and COO of Smart Simple Marketing, and he's a certified marketing consultant. He's been a partner in strategy with companies like Constant Contact, Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and many others to help them install marketing systems that attract ideal clients and exceed company goals. So here to do our bootcamp deep dive, Wil Hart, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Beth. And thank you, Jeff and the Berkeley Library. So good to work with the Chamber. It's been partnering with the Chamber for many years now, and it's always good to be with this awesome crowd. I just want to get a sense of who's in the room. We have a nice turnout so far. I can see the names, but let me know one of two things, whatever you feel like typing. What city are you in? And what does your business do? What city are you in? And what business are you in? Or industry? Let me know. I'll take just a minute to do that. Oh, are people allowed to chat? Oh, Beth and Bobby, are people allowed to type in?
Yep, here we go. Okay. Folks are
there we
they're
go.
rolling in now.
El Cerrito. All right. Chamber members, HVAC, got a nonprofit, Berkeley Plant Shop. Thank you for giving us oxygen and keeping us alive at the Berkeley Plant Shop. Okay, robotics, awesome. Computer consulting, this is great. Trying to become a blogger. This is good. I'm happy to hear what you're into because when we think about this theme that we're talking about, the only marketing system your business will ever need, how can someone make such a bold claim? Well, I want you to imagine putting 100% of your focus into a marketing system that generates consistent leads, predictable revenue, ideal clients, exactly what you hope that your business will do. Just think about it. When we either got into our business, if we're business owners, or even if you're an employee of a business, the business owner created that business because they had a very particular skill. They had a skill that they knew could serve a market. One of the skills that most of us do not have when we start our business is marketing. And that's always a challenge, especially if we're getting a lot of word of mouth referrals and clients that way, or even in networking. However, we're getting business. If it's not consistent, it's not predictable, it always dries up. So we'll talk about instituting or implementing or installing a marketing system that will give you exactly what you need, and you're in control of it. And we'll show you exactly how to do that. I'm going to put in the chat a workbook for us that I'd like for you to click on. It's a Google Doc. So if you use Google Docs, you can click on that link. Let's see. There we go. Here's a link to the workbook for us. Click on that Google Doc, and then when it opens up for you, click File and then Make a Copy. That way you'll be able to edit it. So this is not just a webinar, or I don't want you to sit there and chew your food or whatever you're doing and be distracted. This is a workshop. So you're going to walk away with things that you can apply in your job or in your company right after we're done. So click that link in the chat. It'll open up a Google Doc, click File, then click Make a Copy, and you'll be able to put notes directly in there. Or if you like taking handwritten notes, do that as well. But maybe the workbook can be a guide for you. Okay, so let's do this. Let me share my screen and we'll get going. I can see that it's loading. And how about now, Beth? Can you see it?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Excellent. So again, the only marketing system your business will ever need. I'm so glad that you all are here. And let's see. Okay, now it won't move for me. There we go. So here's the system that we are going to highlight. There are 4 steps to this perfect system, marketing system that you'll never need to replace. So the first point is to focus on the top 20% of your customers. The second point or step is to promise to solve a problem. Number 3 is create a customer journey. And number 4, make content the voice of strategy. So we'll dive deep into each and every one of these, and we'll focus on narrowing your focus on the top 20% of your clients or your customers or whoever pays your organization money. So how can you do that? Who are the top 20% of your customer base? Well, when you think about it, any of us who have ever received a payment from a customer fall into one of 4 buckets. And when you look at this diagram here, we see, let's start from the bottom left. The customers that we don't want, we have them, they have come into our world at some point, but we don't want them anymore, detractors. So detractors, they are clients that are, or customers that are really difficult to work with. They maybe, let's say if you're a consultant, they don't want to do the work that you encourage them to do. They won't refer you new business. They just are challenging. And the worst part of it all is that they drain your energy. So that's what a detractor is. Now let's go over to the right where it says refer. That's a good thing. But let's go up to the top quadrants. We want an ideal client to be, or a customer to be, profitable. But the real space that we want to live in is to have our ideal clients will be not only profitable, but they will also refer other customers that are like them.
All right.
That's an ideal
I'll just take
customer.
a picture of it.
Is it possible to mute those folks, Beth or Bobby? So think about this when it comes to your top 20%. What are common traits that your most profitable customers that also refer you business to, that refer you to their friends, their customers, even their neighbors or their colleagues, people that are in their network? What are the common traits that they have? Those are some of the things that we want you to keep in mind when it comes to looking at the top 20% of your customer base. That's really important. That way, the other customers, it's not that we want to get rid of them, but those that are certainly not ideal, at some point we want to end that relationship. But if we focus on the top 20% and then get more customers that are like them, that's what the system will help us to do as we continue our discussion. So think about the top 20%. They are profitable and they refer ideal customers to our business. And they normally fall into one of three buckets. Or I should say, there are kind of 3 categories that three traits that an ideal customer will have. So when it comes to having a real, let's call it a perfect customer, what are the must-haves that you require of them? What are some things that make them an ideal customer? Maybe they need to be in your city. Maybe they need to have a budget that fits your services. Maybe they are male or female, or they fall into an age range that your product or service serves them. So that's the must-haves. Nice to haves are things that are good as well. So what are some nice to haves that you might need to consider for those customers that fall into that top 20%? Nice to haves can those are things that are not necessarily required, but you really would enjoy for them to have these certain traits or certain aspects that will make your products or service attractive to them. Now, let's talk about ideal to have. Ideal, just think about it. If and you think about those traits of your top 20% customers, what makes them an ideal customer? Well, remember, profitability. We want them to refer people that are just like them because they make us jump for joy when we get up and go to work in the morning. That's what an ideal customer is. So let's look at that. Let's look at some of those traits. I don't want to read all of these to you, but this is just an example of each category: must have, nice to have, ideal to have. And another thing with regards to ideal to have, a few things that I want to point out is they don't mess around with your pricing. Sometimes people will do that to you. Well, why does it cost that? Well, that's how much it costs. And, that's the investment. So sometimes people will try to haggle you. But another thing that's ideal is values, similar values to what your organization has. Those people, when they see uh, what you bring to the table and your values connect, that ideal situation definitely puts them in that top 20%. So keep those in mind. Your top 20% of your customers, the best customers that you have, you want to know those traits. And so there is in your workbook, I want you to take a look at, I'll give you a minute or so just to write down for your ideal customer. What is it that they must have? What are some nice to haves? And what are some deal things to have that would help you to focus on the perfect customer for your business? So I'll give you a minute or so to do that. And if you have any questions about this top 20% of your customers, please feel free you can raise your hand, or Beth and Bobby, if you see anything in the chat that I can't see, please let me know. So I'll give you a minute to work on that. And if you just joined us, Bobby, if you could help me put that link back in the chat. It'll go to a Google Doc, click File, make a copy, and that way you can edit that document, or you can use it as a guide and make handwritten notes. So I'll give you about another minute just to work on that. And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I believe I can see hands raised. And while you are filling out, or while you're making notes, I do have a question for the audience. If anyone would like to share, can you tell us, what does it feel like when you work with an ideal customer, a perfect customer? What's been your experience?
Will we have someone clarifying that this method will also fit small retail shop businesses? I'm assuming yes.
Yes, yes. When we get to messaging, you'll see exactly how that fits.
Great. And Thea commented that the ideal customer, it doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't feel like work. Thank you for that, Beth. Thea, thank you for that. The customer believes in the product. Thanks, Bobby. Okay. All right. Since there's no questions or any other clarification needed, we'll move right along. So let's talk about point number 2. Promise to solve a problem. Who was that, Beth, real quick? Who was that mentioned this could work for retail?
This was one of our chamber members, Chi.
Chi. Okay. All right. Thanks, Chi, for putting that question out there. So promise to solve a problem. This is huge when it comes to what we'll get into later with regards to messaging. We talked about our fourth point is allow content to be the voice of strategy. Now, when we talk about having a very clear problem to solve, your prospects will flock to you when they understand that you know how to solve their problem and that you have the goods that will help them to do that. And when we're talking about problem solving, I mean, this could be any type of product or service, because when we need something, be it something that we think will benefit us in some way or something that will really get us out of some sort of pain, that is helping us to solve a problem. So let's dive a bit into this. And just remember that nobody wants what we have to sell. They want their problem solved. Even if somebody's buying a trinket, I mean, what problem is that solving? Maybe what they're purchasing makes them feel good. It makes their day better. What is the problem for most businesses? What's the problem that you're solving for your audience? And sometimes our ideal prospect, the person who has not yet become a customer yet, they aren't sure what their problem is. And so it's important for you, if you're working in marketing at all, is to understand broadly the broad picture that includes their challenges, their dreams, their desired end result. So when you can articulate that to them and help them see that you can solve their problem, that will be an ideal situation for you and for your potential customer. So let's look at a few examples. So I have about 3 examples for you with regards to promising to solve a problem. There is a customer who is an architect, and they serve construction companies. So one of the problems that they solve for construction companies is this, and pay close attention to this. Construction companies that work with this particular architect liked working with this architect because they helped the construction company to get paid faster. Now that's special, because you can look at, oh, they do great work, their designs are awesome. But when it comes to working with this particular architect, they know how to get through the red tape. They help projects move along faster, and they get them paid faster. Now, why is that? Why would that be important to a construction company? Well, when they have these big projects, they need money up front so that they can start hiring people to get this work done. So the way that we were able to find this out with regards to the architect is interviewing their customers. So I want to encourage you to do this as well. Do you have a process for getting feedback from your best customers? Well, actually, all of your customers, any of your customers. Don't just talk to the ones that love you a great deal. Talk to the ones that have a bad experience as well, because you want to know what turned them off and how you could better serve them or people like them in the future. So what we do, one of our processes is, when we work with the client, we will go and talk to their customers so that we can get an idea of what it is that makes them hire our customer, what makes them stick with them. And when we can understand that, when we get into our one of the later points, you'll see how talking to your customers changes what you say in all of your marketing efforts. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, there is another example. Universities have a problem oftentimes. And another customer we helped when we were trying to understand why universities like working with them, this is what we found in talking to their customers. Universities need funding every year, right? So our client provided a very specific service for them. They are a software company, and they developed a software that helps them with scheduling, whether it be classes, events on campus, and things like that. What the universities found was that the software company provided them so much data that they were able to reduce tuitions. Now imagine that. We make your tuition affordable. That is clearly stating how you solve a problem. Is this making sense so far? Give me a wave or something, a hand clap or something if this is making sense to you. In this situation with the universities and talking to these customers, the software was a cool product, but that wasn't the big problem that it was solving. Can you imagine helping students make helping them reduce their cost of tuition and all the other benefits that that would provide for the institution? Now, if you in your organization, in your company, or in your business have Google reviews, this is a messaging gold mine. And please keep in mind that if you're getting Google reviews, please respond to each and every one of those reviews. Don't leave them out there. Respond to the good ones, respond to the negative ones, and that gives you a lot of insight into what your customers or what anyone who's having some interaction with your business, what they think of you. So Google reviews are a messaging gold mine. And I'm going to give you an example of that. So I want you to see what a few people said about this company. They came and worked as scheduled and cleaned up nicely after it was done. Okay, that was one comment. Another one is the guys showed up on time and did a wonderful job. In the past, we have dealt with people who don't show up or do a professional job. Everything was cleaned up very well. You notice we didn't talk about the type of business this is, and you might see it in the comments below. But this is a tree removal service. And because of that feedback that they received, notice their promise on the top of the website. Our promise to you, we'll show up when we say we will, and we'll clean up before we leave. Why is that valuable? See, they understand their ideal client. This is what they are asking for. This is what they want. It might seem that anybody with a chainsaw and a truck can chop down a tree. Now, that might be true or whatever, but a company like this that has messaging, when you need a tree service and you're searching online and maybe you see some reviews on Yelp or Google, and then you go to their website and this is the first thing you see, we'll show up when we say we will, and we'll clean up before we leave. That is powerful. So keep in mind that of the main problem that you're solving. You might be selling a product or service, but what is the problem that you are solving? And that is going to affect the core message of your brand. Because you want to use that message in networking. You want to use it in anytime you're talking about your organization or your company. You want to dive deep into that problem so that when someone has that problem and they hear it, it's like, oh yeah, I need that. Or I have a friend who needs exactly what you're talking about. So in your workbook, go to step number 2, create a core message. And I want you to highlight the problems that you solve for your audience. Or write down, type in, what is the main problem your business solves? And what promise are you making? And you'll see, as if you're doing these exercises, as we mentioned, this is a workshop. If you're completing this, it's going to build up into something that, as I mentioned at the outset, you can take home and start working on right after we're done. So do we have any questions on crafting your core message and promise to solve a problem? Let me know if you have any questions up to this point, either about the core message or about focusing on the top 20% of your customers. And I'll give you a minute to work on this exercise, crafting your core message. If anyone joined, I can't tell, Beth or Bobby, can you put the link in the chat so that they can get access to the workbook? Again, click that link. It's a Google Doc. Click File, make a copy, and that way you can edit it. Or if you're taking personal notes, handwritten notes, you can use this as a guide. I'll give you a few more seconds to work on that. Okay, while you are working on crafting your core message, I just want to highlight our first two steps. Remember, we said focus on your top 20% of your customers, and then a promise to solve a problem is step number 2. So when you know who you're talking to, now we're crafting that core message. Your ideal customers, you know exactly who they are. Remember, we talked about just a little bit some of the must-haves, nice to have, and ideal to have with your ideal customer. Some of those things might be demographics and psychographics, right? So now we're talking about crafting a core message. So you want to make sure that your marketing message is speaking to the right person, that they have that problem that you can solve, or they have the desired end result that you can help them to get to. Okay, all right. We will move on to step 3, create an end-to-end customer journey. Let's see. Let's put in the chat. How many of you in your business or in the organization you work with, how many of you know the customer journey? That's either a yes or no. You can type in the chat. Or if anybody wants to have a discussion with me about your customer journey, we can kind of talk about it a little bit. But put in the chat, do you know your customer journey for your business or your organization you work with? Thank you, Yo. Let's see. And we have still learning. Thanks, Kay. Somebody threw a little advertising there. Okay. Thanks, Uzi. So let's talk about this in customer journey. So what you see here is a marketing funnel, right? The traditional funnel is what is kind of, there's so much going on with funnels now. You might be tired of hearing about funnels, funnel hacking, funnel this and funnel that. People are funnel crazy the past couple of years. And the idea behind the traditional funnel is we drive a bunch of leads that can get to know about our company, our product or service, and hopefully at the end, someone will convert and buy something. And, you know, the interesting thing about that is it works, but is it ideal? It might work or it might not. So how can we make this system work for you? Think about this. Let me go back to this funnel idea. The interesting thing about marketing these days is the customer is driving the sales process. They are researching, they have all the information that they need in order to make a purchase for a product or service. So we're not in control as the business. You know, we can try to get as many leads as we like and as we need, and then hope that a couple convert, but that's not really predictable. And what we're talking about is a predictable system that can help us to know how many leads we have and how many might convert, and have a better system in place so that we can forecast our revenue, our income, and things like that. So let's think about this for a minute. 61% of mobile searchers are more likely to contact a local business if they have a mobile-friendly site. So let's say you're in Berkeley, El Cerrito. Let's do a restaurant, for example. I want Indian food, and I'm searching, but I can't get a good idea of what you have to offer because it's your mobile version of your website is not good, or you don't have a mobile version. I would venture to say, I'd like to know, how often do you search for, um, do a local search when you need either a restaurant or a product or service? How many of you are doing that? You just pick up your phone and you try to find something that you need. I'll tell you, out here, we moved to Fairfield 2 years ago, and there is no cleaners. I missed that about the living in Emeryville and in the Berkeley area. No cleaners that there's no competition for the cleaners that we have here, and they can charge whatever they want. Um, but that's the first thing that I did was pick up my phone and try to find a better option. So good. A lot of us here are using our phones to find a product or service or to solve a problem, right? So just think about your company and your business. Is it mobile friendly when your ideal prospects are trying to search for you? 87% of potential customers won't consider businesses with low ratings. See why it's so important to have those Google reviews and those Yelp reviews, that you respond to them and that you know what people's experience are, so that you can communicate with individuals if when they do go out to a third party like Google or Yelp and they talk about your business. When they have a great experience, that is golden. Thank them. Highlight how valuable that is to your business, that they would take the time to go on the third party platform and say good things about you. And if they say bad things, use that as an opportunity, a springboard to improve the relationship. 64% of consumers say watching a video on Facebook has influenced a purchase decision. Now, I would love to hear from you on this. Put in the chat, yes, if you're either on Facebook or Instagram and you saw something that you bought. I have to stay off Instagram because it is just dangerous. I don't know how they look open now, how they are finding exactly the things that I like. So, but just think about that. 64% are buying from these experiences. 92% of consumers will visit a brand's website for the first time for reasons other than making a purchase. Now consider that. Have you ever considered making a purchase, or you wanted to learn something about somebody? Maybe before this event, maybe before this workshop, you said, who's this guy giving this chamber workshop? Let me go check him out. And you went to my website. We do that all the time as well. We will, without even having an intent of making a purchase, we will go to a person's website or a company's website. 86% of buyers will pay more for a better customer experience. Now think about your own experience. Will you pay a little bit more to have a better experience? You know, since you probably the majority of you are in the Berkeley, El Cerrito area, it's, you know, that's like the best food. Anytime I go anywhere, I'm like, no, we have the best food in the Bay Area. And there's just so many options when it comes to food. But when you try them, isn't it interesting how, well, for my wife and I, we will go back because of the service. Because of the service, the way we're treated. How about you? How does that affect you? Think about your purchase habits when as we discuss these things. Here's another one for you. 83% of business owners claim their main source of new business is referrals. Now, this is very powerful. How many of you, put in the chat, just say yes or I do if your business gets new customers by way of referral? How many of you get new customers by way of referral? Thanks, Beth. Chamber does. Okay, good. You know, Texas Tech did a little bit of research. They surveyed 2,000 consumers, and they found that let me see this percentage here. They found that 86% of those that were surveyed had a business that they loved. And they all said that they would refer that business to their network, to their friends, family, colleagues, or whatever. But you know what? Only 29% actually did make a referral. So there's a huge gap there that we as business owners can take advantage of. And that is to systematically work on referrals. And so we'll talk about that a little bit as well. So as I mentioned earlier, the thing that has changed the most about marketing is how people choose to become customers. And that is key because we have access to information and data now that we didn't have some years ago. We are driving, as consumers, we're driving the buying process. And so when we talk about, that's why we're talking about the funnel, it's like, okay, it doesn't kind of work like that because we have so many options that we can choose from and so many ways to find information. So that funnel is kind of twisted, and it's all twisted up. It's like this. Look at this this graphic and think about your own buying journey. You're not being put into a top of a funnel and then you just fall out at the bottom and make a purchase. You do research, you likely you talk to other people, and then they might refer you to somewhere else. So you are in the driver's seat. We are in the driver's seat as consumers. Now, as business owners, we have to understand that our ideal prospects are in the driver's seat. So what's our position then? Our position is to make sure that we're guiding them along the buyer journey. So how can we help them? So we'll talk about that a little bit more. So as I mentioned, we want to guide their behavior. So let's look at what we call the marketing hourglass. And of course, the top of an hourglass, it can be likened to the top of a funnel. You have that little basin there, but turn it on its side. Turn the marketing funnel on its side. And here are 7 habits that we want to talk about. And please think about when you pull out your wallet and make a decision or you refer someone, how do you fit in this process when you have a problem that you want solved? So these 7 points are know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer. And we want to talk about each and every one of these because these are the keys to help guide ideal prospects to becoming customers. So the first 3 stages are where you build a relationship: know, like, and trust. So remember, we talked about a minute ago, we have so many options. We will search a brand before we make a purchase. We'll do some research. We'll talk to people. We'll go to their website to see, hey, is this a brand or a company that I want to get to know, or how can I get to know them? And then once we get that data, do I like this brand? Is this somebody that I want to do business with? And how do you build that trust? Well, remember we talked about the Google reviews, Yelp reviews. Maybe on your website, there are testimonials that somebody like me can read and say, like, oh, you know what? I can see why I can trust them. Does anyone in their customer base look like me? Do they have the same problem that I have? And how was it fixed? Are they demonstrating that? So when it comes to trust, it's really valuable that people can learn that they can trust you without even getting really close to you. For example, on your website, or let me ask you this. Have you ever, I had this experience recently when I made a purchase. I was going through a company's website because I wanted to join this program that I thought was very interesting. And I was looking at the testimonial page and I saw a friend of mine. They used a friend of mine as one of their testimonials. And I'm like, wow, Michelle's there and I love her. And I know how good her work is. And I saw how she benefited from this program that I was interested in joining. And there it is. If Michelle trusts them, then I can trust them too. So think about how you can do that in your business. And then the second part of the marketing hourglass is sales. So how can people try you out? How can people buy? Is that process clear? Take, for example, if someone phones, they call your business to try to learn any information, that's a try. They're trying. So you might join a workshop like this. This is a try. So how is your business creating opportunities for your ideal prospects to try you out? And of course, buying, you need to make that a simple process and easy for them to do. And then when it comes to service, now think about this. Marketing doesn't end once a person buys from you. You continue to help them on the buyer journey by, hopefully, you help them to solve another problem or the same problem. It takes multiple purchases or something like that, so they become a repeat buyer. And when you give them a great experience, you're still marketing. You want them to refer other ideal prospects like them. So that's what the marketing hourglass looks like. Know, like, trust, buy, try, buy, repeat, and refer. And we'll, in our next step, in step number 4, we're going to talk about how we guide our customers through this. So let's dig a little deeper into each one of these. So when we look at the 3 stages that create relationships, know, like, and trust, how do we do that? Well, everyone knows this one: advertise, search marketing, social media, referrals, direct outreach. This is how someone can get to know our business. So think about what you're doing in your company. How are you getting people to know? This is the easy one. Now, the like is where it gets a little more difficult. We talked about creating that core message. In order to get for your ideal prospect to like you, they need to understand you. That's why that core message is so important. And step 2 is promise to solve a problem. If they can see that you can help them solve their problem, they will like you. Maybe your story is something that they like. They can get on your social media and engage with you and begin to like you that way. User experience is important. So think to your website or even coming into your store or into your location. What is the experience when they walk into your door? Are they greeted? Do they feel like they're at home, or do they feel repelled? All of these things will determine whether they like you or not. So we can control that, and it's important for us to do so. So let's talk about trust. Visual cues. You ever went to a brand and you're like, ew, you were turned off by it because it was a little funky. It just wasn't your thing. You were searching to solve a problem, but that brand wasn't for you. So consider that with regards to you and your ideal customers. Again, social media, reviews, testimonials, case studies, all these things build trust. And so how is your organization controlling these 3 stages that create relationships? So let's go on to the bridge to long-term success. How do you get your ideal prospects to try you, to try what you have to offer? Do you have a way for them to reach out to you by phone? Do they fill out a form on your website? Is there a trial of some kind, 14 days, 7 days, or something like that? Or can they try you with the low cost, a low barrier for entry? How are you helping your customers to try? And then buy. Of course, they pay you money, but what's that onboarding process like, especially if it's a long-term engagement? How do you help them along the buying process so that you decrease the number of questions that they have? You make sure that they have a great experience so that maybe even now at this stage, at the early stage of their purchase, they're already referring you. What's your communication like with your email, with the content that you're publishing and things like that? So keep this in mind that we're guiding them along the buyer journey. Remember, and the marketing isn't over yet. So now let's talk about scaling with the last 2 pieces of the marketing hourglass. Think about repeat business. How many of you on this call, in this workshop, want repeat business with your customers? I'm talking about ideal customers. Put it in the chat that you want repeat. Maybe for some people, maybe depending on your business, that's not a thing for you. But how many of you want repeat business? Okay, good. I don't see anyone denying repeat business. That is good. Okay, so let's talk about your processes. How do you encourage them to do that? When they make one purchase, do you have a way to elevate the service or to elevate their experience? Cross promotion is important. How can you do that? Um, maybe help encouraging them to share their awesome experience with you. You know, when just think about, here's the reason why repeat business is so important. Remember all that research we did as a consumer? Well, if we have that problem again or a similar problem, we want to be able to just go back to the person that we already liked. We don't want to start that process all over again. It's like, oh, you know what? That electrician, that team did a really good job at my house, and I'm going with them until they prove me wrong. So think about you and along your customer journey. How can you? What process do you have in place now to get them to repeat with you? And then next, we want our ideal customers. Remember that top 20%, top 20% to refer more customers like them. Now, that requires some effort. Do you have a training process for your best customers to refer you? Have you ever, especially for you business owners, or if you do a lot of networking, have you ever had a trouble sharing with people what it is that you do or what your company does? Now, think about your best customers and you want them to refer you. If we're having difficulty saying who we are and what we have to offer, they won't be able to do it. So, what's the training process? Let's help them along, because people that are having a great experience with us, they want to tell their friends, they want to tell their family and their colleagues and their neighbors. So, keep that in mind, and look for opportunities to do co-marketing as well. So, there may be a similar business to yours and you serve the same customer. How can you help each other refer business? So, keep those things in mind. Back to that marketing hourglass, those 7 stages. And remember, we can't control what our customers do, but we can guide them along the customer journey. Now, we are going to go into step number 4. Do you remember not too long ago? Oh, you know what? Before we go to step number 4, I forgot the workbook. We want to do our little exercise. Hold on. We are at step number 3, create a customer journey. So if anything came to your mind quickly with regards to your customer journey in those 7 stages, know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer, make a few notes in there on what you either need to do or some things that you are doing well, so that you can create a system around it. So I'll give you about a minute and a half to work on that. And if you have any questions about the creating a customer journey, an end-to-end customer journey, please feel free to put it in the chat or just raise your hand and we can talk about it. Okay. All right. Please let me know. We have we just finished point number 3 or step number 3 in the marketing system your business the only marketing system your business will ever need. Is this helpful so far? Is this helpful so far before we go into point number 4? Beth, I know it's helpful for you. You're such a fan. You're so sweet. Let me know in the chat or thumbs up or something. Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback. I have another question for you. So I'm glad that you just finished typing because that's good. Do you remember before everybody started creating content and then content became king? And now how many of you either thumbs up or raise your hand or something? How many of you are just overwhelmed with content? We went from no content to just avalanche of content every single day. How many of you feel like that? Content. So much content. That's why we have this dump truck here on the screen. It's like, oh my goodness, it's so much content. And then don't sign up for something. Don't get on somebody's email list and you're going to get so much content. It's possible that you're going to get so much content. And we're not saying content is bad, not by any means. Because we need it. Believe me, trust and believe, we need valuable content because we're guiding our ideal prospect along the customer journey. And so how can we do a better job? Well, we want to keep in mind that content is not a tactic. It's not just something that you just do, but content is the voice of strategy. And so we are going to dive deep into content being the voice of strategy. And you'll see how even for a retail business or any other business, that those first 3 steps, focus on your top 20% of your customers, promise to solve a problem, create an end-to-end customer journey, and now using content as the voice of strategy, how it could benefit those who buy from you and how it builds on that know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer. So let's go through the marketing hourglass and look at how content can help. Now, before we start this, I just want to say that content is needed at every stage of the customer journey. And just when we talk about content is any and everything that can be conveyed, be it by face-to-face, audibly, in text, any type of message that's conveyed, email, your excuse me, your voicemail, your voicemail is content. So how can you make it so that every message that you're putting out, especially that core message that we're talking about, is valuable at the time that your ideal customer or your already customer, the time that they need it? So let's go start from the beginning. So when people get to know you, here are some ways that they do that. Maybe they come to your website and they like it so much they sign up for your newsletter or they sign up for more information. Even on social media, and podcasts, we can highlight some of the things mentioned here. Blog posts. This is how people get to know our brand. Now, how do they get to like our brand? Through content. Well, now this is where they start making decisions on whether what you're putting out there is valuable. So remember, we talked about that avalanche of content. Well, content is still needed, but when you're talking to your ideal prospect that has the problem, the very specific problem that you know how to solve, and they have entered your customer journey, give them exactly what they need when they need it. So maybe there are tip sheets on your website that you can help them use. Videos, perhaps some of you have a YouTube channel or maybe a podcast. those give us opportunities to like a brand before we decide to make a purchase, or to keep liking a brand even after we've made a purchase. So what can we do to build trust with our content? Well, I like that this first point with regards to segmenting. So if you're using a CRM of some kind, maybe Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, or anything like that, you can segment the list of your database. And so maybe you have an idea of what some people like, and you give them a very specific message. So, or maybe you are a software company or a robotics. Did I say robotics a little bit earlier? And maybe there's some competitors of yours that you want to show the differentiators between you and them. And you do a comparison guide on your website, or maybe that's a download that they can use, or it's an email series of some kind. So that can help them build trust with you. Now, when it comes to buying or trying, maybe on your website you have an assessment or a quiz, or again, if you have a YouTube channel, they create a playlist of your content, and there's some way that they can sample what you have to offer in some way. You know, we were talking about retail earlier. I can't remember whose name was that. Was that Chi? I can't remember, but just think with regards to retail, when people try on a bracelet or try on a blouse or a suit, that's a try. And just imagine if your competitor didn't allow that. Oh no, you don't touch that. You look at it and you buy it if you like it, and then you can try it on. But think about ways that you can help your ideal customer to try and then buy. Maybe again, we want to go back to the experience that your customer have once they buy from you. The marketing doesn't end, or the customer journey doesn't end once they buy. You want to make sure that they have the best experience possible so that they won't regret their purchase, because you have it and I have it. Buyer's remorse is real, right? And we don't want our customers to have buyer's remorse because we didn't treat them well, or we didn't answer simple questions that they should have known about. So think about how you can create content around buying, and then repeating business. I want to take one of these, onboarding content. So let's say your customer, let's say you have a 3-month process in working with your customer. Make sure that onboarding process is so encouraging, and they're like, wow, I can't wait to get started. You want to pump them up. You need to let them know that they are in the right place, because when they are in the right place, that's when they start thinking about, we as customers start thinking about referring this business that we have bought from. So that's a good time to start asking your customer, is there anyone else that you know that could use this service, or do you know anybody else that has a problem like yours that needs to be solved? And so there are some options here to think about how you can help your customers to repeat business, or even ascend in buying another product or service from you. And when it comes to referring, we're talking about creating content. We highlighted reviews a little bit earlier. And I just want to hit on that point again with regards to teaching your best customers how to refer you. We have and not a cheat sheet, it's actually a real sheet, and even a letter that we will give our customers that shows them how they can refer, who to look for. Maybe some of you belong to networking groups, like a BNI or something like that. Every week, I used to be in a BNI group in Berkeley. No, in Oakland. And every week you meet together so that you can learn about these people that you're meeting with in these other businesses and how to refer them to your network. So, and it's a valuable resource. So think about that. You can create your own little BNI. Maybe you have a group of business owners or someone that you spend time with on a regular basis. Make sure that they know how to refer you, because they want to see you succeed and you want to help them as well. So we have talked about the only marketing system your business will ever need. Remember those 4 steps. We talked about focusing on the top 20%. promise to solve a problem, create an end-to-end customer journey, and using content as the voice of your strategy. And so this is a diagram of a very profitable marketing system that gives you predictable revenue that we help our customers to install in their business. So just going around this, we help our customers to implement a strategy that will help them in all of these areas if it's valuable for them. So websites that build trust, creating content that's valuable to the ideal prospect, and not only just creating any kind of content, but making sure it's optimized for search engines. We help them with their social media engagement, their reputation management. A lot of us, especially small business owners, don't think about reputation management. I want to stop right here to help you to focus on that. There are so many tools out there that we can use to see if anyone mentions our business or our name. Use those tools so that you can see when your name comes up, be it in social media or online, anywhere, you can see what's being said. You can respond to it if and when necessary, and stay up to date and engage with what's being said about your company online. And then email marketing is so powerful. Once you build a network of prospects as well as customers, staying in touch with them for the long haul. I mean, for years, you can stay in touch with individuals by using email marketing. And then a very advanced strategy. A lot of people will use paid advertising without anything on the back end. We would definitely not encourage you to do that. That's an advanced strategy where you have all these other good things in place so that when people click on your ads, they know exactly what to do once they do that. So we did talk about using content to you be the voice of strategy, and I'm going to give you a minute to work on that last activity, which is make content the voice of strategy. Again, we'll do it like we did the last one. Think of some things that write down or type in a few things that you maybe are doing well, or things that you need to include with regards to using content all the way through the buying process, all the way through the customer journey. So how is your company doing that? And what do you need to do or what do you need to put in place so that you're talking to them at the right time and answering the right questions and solving the right problems? So I'll give you a minute or so to do that. And
while I'm doing that, a question in the chat regarding the profitable market system. Are those numbers referring to the priority, or is that just the 7 steps?
For us, it is a priority. So when we install a marketing system for our clients, we will make sure that they're in that order.
Okay, so yes. Those are prioritized.
Yeah, those are prioritized. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So thank you for that. Thank you for catching that question. So while you're doing the work, while you're in your workbook, are there any questions with regards to using content as the voice of strategy, or any of the other 3 steps? Please don't hesitate. We have a few minutes, and then Beth will be on our way.
Hi, I have a question. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay,
great. You had mentioned something about a tool that helps your business find out when people are talking about you. Mm-hmm. I might have missed that in the beginning. Is that, what are you referring to? What is that tool?
No, I said that there are a lot of tools for social listening that, there are tools that you can use that will let you know when someone is talking about your business.
And how do I locate those? Just put that into a Google and kind of sort through what's available?
You can do search social listening tools.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Really big brands do that a lot because they, have thousands of customers. But we can do it too. I mean, if we're really engaged out there in the interwebs, then we can take advantage of those tools.
Will, to expand on that, would an example be like setting up Google alerts for your business name? Is that sort of that direction?
Exactly. Yep. That's one tool. Google alerts for your business name, for your name, for the topic that you're speaking on or that you're teaching or whatever it is, topics that are important to you in your industry. Okay, what's that there? Uzi,
Yeah, we did have one more question that actually got buried in the chat, Will. Besides Google and Yelp reviews, are there any other platforms that we should be focusing on as well for reviewing?
For can you come off mute so that I can understand your question better? If you're not getting Google reviews, then you wouldn't need to focus on Google reviews. Or if you don't have Yelp reviews, if people aren't talking about you on Yelp, then that's not a place you should be. I would say this: if you're collecting reviews, then direct your customers to where you want them to put them. That's what I would say, because ours are on our website. Is that clear, Beth, or am I a little off?
I think so. They're welcome to clarify in the chat if not.
Okay. And yeah, come off of me. Oh, you don't have a mic. Besides Google and Yelp, is there any other platform that we need to focus on too? Yeah, I would say when it comes to anything, email marketing, review sites, do what is good for your business. We want video testimonials for our business. So you have to decide what's a good fit for you when it comes to reviews. Now, thank you, Uzi, for the reputation management tools. We appreciate that. And I don't know who asked that question earlier about what are some options. But yeah, thanks for that list. Oh my goodness, Beth. I didn't realize it was 108. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I think I started my clock when I started talking.
It's valuable content. But yes, for those who are wondering, we are going to be wrapping up here in just a few moments. So hang on a few more minutes longer.
Yeah, let me know if you have if you see any other questions, Beth, or if I can ask any questions from you. But at this time, I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the Chamber, and thank you to Berkeley Library for bringing us together. I love this, so we appreciate you all.
Yeah, thank you. We did record this presentation, so we'll be archiving it on our YouTube channel, at least for the next 30 days or so. We'll also send everyone who registered a link to the recording so you can easily find it, along with Will's contact info. So if you'd like to book a consult with Will or have any follow-up questions, we'll be sure to provide his contact info.
I'll put, real quick, Beth, I'll put that link in the chat again, just in case anybody came late. And my contact information is at the bottom of that workbook.
Wonderful. Well, Will, thank you very much. Thank you again to the library's sponsorship. Thank you to all of our participants. This was engaging. I hope you walked away with the tools you need to better market your businesses. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event. This time next month in February, we'll have our final boot camp of 2024. So stay tuned for details on that. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you
all so much.
Bye-bye.